Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brokerpreneur Podcast. I'm Dr. Ben Spears, the ambassador of Flow, as if I had a shirt on that said that.
Right. Or a WWF championship belt.
Exactly.
If y'all wondering what he was doing.
Nobody could see that, right? It's like, so I'm here with the big guy as usual, Matt Vi. How you doing, Matt?
Doing absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Another great day. Getting to ride around with the doors off the Jeep. It hardly ever rains in the afternoon now. It's starting to calm down, maybe turning into fall. Fantastic.
It was every day.
It was.
Well, that's the way it is every summer. Mm-hmm. It's like, give us some meteorological. I don't know if that's word. Why does that happen, Matt? Right, like so it's blazing hot.
Right.
In the summer.
Right.
And then at 3:30,
every day,
clockwork.
It's the tropics. Yeah, it's because the temperature cools off so quickly. I guess. I mean, it's completely a guess, right? But from 11 o'clock to 1 or 2. I mean, it is stifling hot.
Yeah.
And then the sun starts to go down and it cools off quickly. And then there's wet breeze coming off of the Gulf because we're right there right next to the water. Yeah. And I think the two of those things just clash. And there's always, it's high humidity and there's always particles in the air. There's always dust. There's always crap blowing around. And so I think the cool air, the dust flying around, the temperature cooling quickly, just all of that just goes, hey, you know what?
Perfect storm.
Spit on you all day.
Yeah, especially all that crap flying around.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
right.
There's certainly a lot of that going on. But that would be a complete guess on my part.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about crap today. Mm-mm. You know what we're going to talk about?
I do know what we're going to talk about.
Well, tell me.
So why the hell would you follow up after the appointment is set? That's what we're going to talk about today. Why would you actually follow up? Why would you not just let the appointment show up?
Yeah, no joke. I mean, it's already made. It's guaranteed they're going to show.
That's right.
Right? I'm awesome.
Right.
Why wouldn't they show up?
And if they don't, it's because they're an idiot and I don't want them anyway, right?
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, if you listen to this, on all those fancy platforms that they put podcasts on, make sure you hit that follow button. There's no better time than the present than to go to prospectboomerang.com and join our VIP list.
Yep.
Click on podcast, go down there and say, hey, I'd like to receive monthly recruiting tips, tricks, and hacks from these guys.
Yep.
And we'll send them to you.
Yep.
So, Matt.
Yeah, man.
I don't get it. Follow up.
Right. Psh. Yeah, the appointment's set. So let's talk about the vocabulary in case it's somebody's first time listening to us, right? So there's a difference between an appointment and interview.
Correct.
Appointment is setting the reservation at the restaurant, and the interview is eating the steak, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what we're talking about is when you set the reservation at the restaurant, how do you make sure somebody sits down and has the steak with you at the table, right?
Gotcha.
That's what we're talking about. Is that component of that, the appointment part of that, right? So why would you follow up? Now, it seems a little silly, right, to us and maybe to some people. Some people are like, oh, you follow up to make sure they show up for the appointment, right?
Yeah, they want that steak.
That's right. They want that steak. That's not enough, okay?
Yeah.
And the reason why that's not enough, if you've been recruiting for any period of time at all, you know that if someone is not really, sometimes you meet with people and they're just exploring, okay? Yeah. When they're exploring, if there's not a compelling reason to show up to that appointment, to that interview after the appointment is made, if there's not a compelling reason, anything else will stop them from showing up.
Absolutely anything else.
Anything else.
Dishes.
Right? That's exactly right. So for somebody that doesn't like to do dishes, dishes will stop them.
Dishes will stop you in your tracks.
So that's why it has to be that way. Right. So if you can, if you're good in the appointment and you do all of that and it gets moving the right way and then they actually show up to the interview and they enjoy it, that can actually be the thing that changes their mind. And the other thing that we talk about all the time is, closing isn't what you do right before you get them to sign the paperwork.
Right.
Right. You're closing the entire time.
Yeah. Before
you meet them, you're technically closing on them.
Absolutely.
Because your reputation should be preceding you in the market. Believe it or not, it is. Right. If your culture's not out there and your reputation's not out there, it's actually preceding you meeting them.
Yeah.
Because there's a gap, they think, right?
Absolutely. And you're showing them culture, which I know we're going to get into a few of these things, but you're showing them culture. You're showing them support. You're showing them what they're going to get.
Yeah.
If they join your office.
Right.
Before they even meet you.
That's exactly correct.
Yep.
So we want all of those things to be on the right foot. So that way the closing process is just super simple for you later.
Yeah.
Right. So
we got like 5 things, right?
Yeah. We're going to hit. Yeah. We'll hit on those 5.
Right. Like, we want it to be exciting, right? Because that's the thing to me, right? Like everybody gets nervous, when there's like, it's an interview.
Right.
I got an interview. I got to you got to put your tie on.
Right.
You got to, make sure I got a notepad that I'm going to write fake notes on.
Right. That's right. Notes you'll never look at again.
Exactly. Notes I'll never look at again. But then you have those other people.
Yep.
They couldn't care less. They just walk in. They got flip flops on, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's irrelevant. But that was just making me think of that's probably how it really would be.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely think so. That's because everybody just looks at the interview differently.
Yeah.
So that's part of what you're trying to do to begin with is frame what's going to happen in the interview, because if they don't know what to expect, right? So we'll get into that. But you hit the first one. You hit the first one on the head, right? You want it to be exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that doesn't mean you call up screaming like the ShamWow guy. Okay.
Right.
That's not what I mean by exciting. Exciting means that there's something in the conversation that they're looking forward to.
Yeah.
There's something that they can see makes a difference for them, right?
Yep.
And so, this isn't to push challenges and events and everything, which are part of the fast track program and everything that we do. This is not to push that. But that is a great way to build that excitement when you're doing that appointment process, trying to get them in for the interview. So the first thing that you want to do is, you want to really confirm and just relay the excitement of why the meeting is going to be a good meeting. Okay.
Yes.
We'll talk. So when we, like always, when we wrap up, we'll do our wrap up for our clients.
Yeah. Fast track wrap up.
And we're going to, in that, we'll talk about how you actually do this. And maybe in another podcast, we'll talk about how you actually do some of this. But let's start at the beginning. And the beginning is, what is it that you need to do and why do you need to do it? And so number one is you want to just confirm excitement. Yeah. And relay excitement.
Yeah. So how do you confirm excitement?
Yeah. So if you call the person up and they say, if I called you and said, hey, Ben, I know that we're set to meet tomorrow at 2:00, or we're set to meet Thursday at 4:00, or whatever the deal is, and you respond back, yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe dishes. I'll be there, maybe I won't be there. Right, dishes.
They're piling up.
By Thursday, I should have a tall pile of dishes. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to confirm.
Yeah, you want to get their excitement level.
Absolutely, and you want to relay yours.
Yeah.
Right. But you absolutely want to confirm theirs. Yeah, I'll come. But if something else comes up, if anything else comes up, I'm not right. That's what you want to do. You want to see exactly where you're at with that to know how you want to deal with them.
So what, I don't want to get too, actually I won't even dive down. I was going to ask if somebody's like, maybe I'll show up, maybe I won't. What do you do from there? But let's just make that another podcast.
There's a little secret sauce to that. There's some other foundation that we'd have to put in place to make sure that works, and that would be like we've covered that on a couple of other podcasts. Yeah. But yeah, we could absolutely dig into that as well too. Right.
So the second one is you want to build rapport.
Right.
Right. Because that's where everybody. I think that's where everyone kind of goes past that first one.
Yep.
Right. Making it exciting. And goes straight to the, follow-up's just building that rapport, or that, between the appointment and the interview, I'm just trying to be their friend and be their buddy and that kind of thing. Whereas they may not always want to be your buddy.
Right. Right.
Right. And that's where that confirming that excitement at the beginning
completely agree
really comes into play. Because if you keep trying to push yourself on somebody and they're like, listen, I don't want to be your buddy.
Right.
Then you're decreasing the excitement level.
Exactly right.
It's the excitement level that they have. So that first step is really gauging, where they are, so that throughout, on your next call or your next email that you send, what does it need to be like?
Right.
Right. Are they just all business?
Yep.
And they just say, hey, I'm just calling. I just want to make sure that we're going to have our appointment tomorrow at 2:00. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
Have a great day. I can't wait to do business with you.
Right. That's right.
That's building rapport with that person who's doesn't want to be your buddy.
Right.
And
they need a better business partner than the one they have.
Yeah, but if you call somebody who wants to be your buddy and you're like, be there tomorrow, 2:00.
Right. Like I would do.
Exactly. Like you would do. They'd be like, man, I don't know if I could be buddies with this guy.
He's pretty intense most of the time. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize this was going to be an intervention, Ben.
Yeah. Everybody knows that these podcasts are interventions for one of us.
That's right. One of the both. And sometimes it's interventions for the people listening.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But yeah, so that's what we want to do is we want to build rapport. You're completely correct. The first two go hand in hand. But here's another critical thing that people really need to be thinking about. It's not just you, the manager, building rapport.
Yes.
Okay. It is also the other people on your staff. That's a great chance for them to build rapport.
That's a good point. Yep.
That kind of digs into the how a little bit, because if as an example, you know, I have somebody set an appointment for me, or I call and set an appointment, or I bump into somebody, or it's some type of team builder situation. You know, one of the agents says, "Oh, Matt, you should really meet with, you know, Bill, and Bill's Billy Bob's the greatest guy in the world and everything." And you know, they get us connected, and then I just wait for Billy Bob to show up. Right? I mean, they're not comfortable. I'm actually making it more difficult
on
for
his
them.
mule.
That's right. It's just making it more critical. It's making it more uncomfortable for him at a critical time.
Absolutely.
Right? And so what we want to make sure that we're doing is we want to make sure that's as easy as possible. And sometimes that's easier, and it sets a good expectation to reduce the missed appointments if more than one person is trying to build rapport with them.
Hey guys, this podcast is powered by Prospect Boomerang.
We all know broker owners struggle with profitability. Prospect Boomerang compounds your profits by recruiting the best agents to your brokerage.
For consistent growth, visit prospectboomerang.com. Yeah. You know what? Follow up. Everybody's always heard like fortunes in the follow up, right? Follow up is not like the sexy part of recruiting, right? It's the most important part, but it's not like the sexy part. It's not like setting the appointment, right? You set the appointment, like, you know, sweet, I set that, I did that, right? Or you get the interview. It's like, man, I crushed that interview. Or I got that hire. So when it's not sexy, it's easy to want to pass it up. And I was just thinking about this. We're talking a lot about how, you know, it's building rapport with the person, or it's building up excitement with the agent. Think about it too from a sense of as the broker, as the manager, as the recruiting manager. How much easier is it going to be for you to sit down and talk with someone if you've already spoken with them 3 or 4 times?
Absolutely.
Right? It's like going on a blind date versus the 4th date.
Right.
Right? You show up and it's like, gosh, you know, I know this person likes pineapple, and I know they're allergic to like peanuts, you know, whatever. Don't take them to the
pineapple peanut show.
Pineapple peanut show. But you know those things, and it's very comfortable for both of you. So a lot of times, I guess what I'm saying is that I think people look at this as I'm trying to make it really comfortable for the agent, which of course you are.
Right.
But you're making it comfortable for yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you may even know in the follow-up, this is not the right person.
That's exactly right. Which happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which happens, especially with new agents.
Yeah, and so you know the next thing that I want us to talk about, or that we're going to talk about rather, is if you go to a dentist appointment or some other type of appointment. A lot of times people will search like what to expect. Right. Like if I get my wisdom teeth pulled out. Right. How many days am I going to be out? Or blah 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 blah. That's kind of something that we want to talk about too, with our follow-up, is what to expect, when they come in, right? Yeah, absolutely. We want to make sure that we're building that excitement, right? That there's good rapport with them. And then we're going to make sure that we're setting the right expectation of what's actually going to happen. Right. Okay. So the way that we do that isn't by saying, hey, these are the 12 things that we're going to talk about. Let me give you a 96-page list of what we're going. That's not what I mean by setting the expectation. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Setting the expectation is that, in my opinion, at least, is you're not trying to hire them right then. Yeah. Okay. So and they need to know that. They do. Yep. They absolutely need to know that. When you're vetting them out, if they're like, yeah, listen, I need to make a decision, and so I'm meeting with you and what other company? Okay, deal with that differently. Absolutely, you're trying to hire them, right? But most of the time that's not the case. Yeah. Most of the time they're not in the right now phase. They're in the future phase. Right. And so whenever if you're setting enough appointments, they are. Right. Yeah. If you're not setting enough appointments, that's a whole different scenario, right? Every time you're trying to close on them. That's why a lot of people struggle. Okay. So a whole different conversation. Again, what's that, like the 12th conversation? That's another conversation. Yeah. We're racking up the podcasts. That's right. Yeah. We never struggle for content. Never. So setting the expectation means that you want this to be a very comfortable conversation with them, and you're going to say, "Hey Ben, you're going to talk about some other things which we'll unwrap
some other time.
Right.
And you're going to say, hey, Ben, I just wanted to make sure that whenever we sat down on Thursday, the biggest thing for me is that we're just kind of trying to get to know each other. So that way, even if we don't want to work together, at least we both know that we've got a compatriot in the market. Right.
Yeah.
So that's setting an expectation of, I don't need you to make a decision right then. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're vetting them the right way and you know where you're at with it, then you might want to, when you're sitting them down, say, listen, when we get done, absolutely, if everything's going the way it's supposed to, I'd love to talk about how we would make this transition together.
Yeah.
Both of those things are setting the expectation.
Yeah.
It's important that you set it, but that also means that you have to do those other things that we just talked about, or you're not going to set it appropriately.
Yeah. And you're gonna freak them out too if
yeah.
you say things like, now when you come in, will you sign?
Yeah.
Right. If we have a good talk, will you sign up today?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. that's going to creep them out.
That's going to creep them out,
Yeah.
and that's going to lead to some desperation feels.
Absolutely. And unless through the other part of your vetting,
Yeah.
they've set right. So the agent that set the appointment up said, hey, listen, I was in an open house or I'm doing a transaction with them. They said they're getting ready to move this week. Right.
Oh yeah. If they say, well, I need to make a decision today, then
Right.
by all means. I'm just saying, don't lead with that.
Yeah. Most of the time it's exactly what you said. You're going to creep them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you send them a lot of information, right? Like in this follow-up, it's not just phone calls, right? It's emails, it's your staff calling. Maybe it's some text messages. You're sending them some links of hey, here's an event that's coming up or
Right.
something like that. Maybe even have some other agents in your office, send them some things saying, hey,
Right.
I heard you might be joining the company.
Yep.
We're really excited, really excited to have you. Please let me know if I can mentor you in any way or something
Right.
like that.
Yep.
If it's a new agent or whatever.
Yep. Love it.
How do you check or make sure that they're receiving all the information that?
Yeah. So part of it is just asking, right?
Yeah.
But that means that you have to know what it is that's going out.
Yeah.
Big, huge mistake is that when people set an appointment, they don't have a set script of what's supposed to happen. They don't have an outline of what's supposed to happen. Okay. So if I'm setting an appointment, I want to build rapport through me and my staff. I want to make sure there's an email delivered. I want to make sure there's a confirmation delivered. And I want to make sure that my staff has ancillary services, stuff like that, have reached out to them and said, I can't wait to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so again, we'll talk about this in the wrap up, specifically who should be doing what and everything. But for right now, you need to know what's supposed to happen every time an appointment is made.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're falling short, and people are going to get inconsistent stuff. And one person you're going to hire, and you're going to be like, man, I just crushed it on the interview with them, and that's why they joined me. They really liked what I said about the commission plan. And the truth is, that's not it.
Yeah.
You stumbled across something in the appointment process that really resonated with them. You finished it up whenever you actually did the interview, and you don't even realize that you did that because you're not measuring all of those steps.
Yeah.
So, and if you've got an organization that has more than one office and you're overseeing the recruiting, 100% this is what should be happening. You need to make sure that everybody's getting the email. That way you can track who's opening it and who's not opening it, right?
Yeah.
We've got people that don't go to an interview but open an email up 5 or 6 times.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So something happened there, right?
Yep, some
Are they
sort of
sharing it with
connection.
their manager? Look at this. This is what they said. And they're right. I told them I was going to meet with them, but look at this, right? Or is they're sick, right? Or are they sharing it with their team leader? Or so all of those things matter, and you have to be able to vet through those. The only way that you're going to know is if you have that outline of what you're going to do between the appointment being set and the interview.
Yeah.
It does not have to be a huge cumbersome list either. Do not let me make it sound like it has to be. But there are some fundamental steps that you have to go through.
Yeah. And don't forget dishes.
And don't forget the dishes.
Right. Maybe they got sick.
Right.
Could be dishes.
Right. Yeah.
So the most important thing, I think this is, the one thing that most recruiters, most brokers, managers really feel like, because again, like it can get like, this is about me. This is about me. The big thing that everyone wants, and you do need to do this, is just after you've done some steps,
Right.
is actually confirming the date and the time and like, are you going to freaking show up?
Right. And location, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I think location's an important part of that. Date and time, absolutely. But
Especially
that's how
if there's multiple offices.
right, exactly. And so that's whenever you say things just wrapping up. If you're the one making that phone call that is confirming it, that's whenever you're wrapping up and going, and listen, Ben, if anything comes up that you can't meet with me Thursday at 2:00 at the downtown office, just let me know. Just give me a call back on this number. Text me back on this number, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give a little line here, right? So if you guys are out there listening to this, this is I think that this is pretty critical, and this is going to drop. It's going to give you a chance to have more appointments actually show up just using this one line.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to relay to them that you are a professional and you're expecting them to be professional. And so you want to relay that in a way that helps them understand that they should not no-show you. If something comes up, they need to tell you. Okay. So in your follow-up, when you're confirming your appointment and everything, you're just going to simply say something along the line of what we just said. You're wrapping up. Hey, call me at whatever time. But what you're going to say is something along the line of, so Ben, if you've got any questions, if anything happens, Thursday at 2:00, we're meeting at the downtown office. Just give me a call at 727-278-5026 and let me know. I've cleared my schedule because I know, just like you, that professionals keep their appointments. So I've cleared my schedule to make sure I'm there for you at Thursday at 2:00. So just let me know if anything comes up.
Yep.
So what did I just say? Right?
Yeah.
I just said, I'm a professional. I've cleared my schedule. If you're not a professional, then you didn't clear your schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a huge way to vet people. Your missed appointments will drop dramatically if you can say that comfortably at the end of the conversation. Now, this doesn't just fit. This wasn't just something that I learned from real estate. Okay.
Yeah.
From recruiting in real estate. This is something I learned from sales in real estate.
Yeah.
Right. So some people would, the husband would show up for the appointment and they were both supposed to be there and all that kind of stuff and everything. So there's a way that you can say that to whoever you're getting ready to make your appointment with and say, I'm a professional. I cleared my schedule. I know that that me being professional is important. That's why I'm going to make sure that I've cleared my schedule and done everything. And that's why I know that both of you guys are going to be at the appointment. Right.
Right.
There's a nice way of saying that. We won't, again, that's a whole nother podcast. What is that, like 15, right? So, but if you say that at the end of that, that's going to push them into a point where they're like, okay, wait a minute. If he's going to know or she's going to know that if I don't show up for that appointment, I'm not being professional. Or if I don't notify them, I'm not being professional.
No, absolutely. And so let's just recap for a second. You want to make them, you want to make sure they're excited.
Yep.
You want to build rapport.
Yep.
You want to set the expectations.
Yep.
You want to ensure that they're getting all the information that you're sending, and then ultimately we want to confirm and just make sure that they're going to show up with the day, the time, the location, and and prove to you that they're professional.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So I know you got an action item for us before I close it up. So let me put a little. I'll start with the bow.
Right.
How about that? I'll start with the bow, and then we'll get to the action item. So, guys, wherever you listen to this, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, any of those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button, that bell right beside it. You get notified every time we drop a new episode. If you want to watch all these things where we, do our jam,
right,
go to prospectboomerang.com and click on podcast, and you can listen to all of them there. Matt.
Yeah, Ben.
You got an action item.
I do.
Drop it like it's hot, man.
I got you. So what I'd do is I'd go back and listen to this podcast. If I'm somebody that I'm like, okay, this might be what's missing in my process, right?
Okay.
I'd go back and listen to this process. I'd take notes, and then I'd put some scripting in there.
Okay.
And then I would type that up, big, bold, whatever.
Yep.
I'd tape it on the mirror, and I'd read it like 5 times a day for 5 days, 10 days. Okay. Then after I said it and I got relatively comfortable with it and I'd cleaned it up just a little bit, I'd hold a camera up and I'd do the same exact thing. I'd listen to it. I'd speak it into the camera. I'd read it off the mirror. I'd speak it into the camera, see how my face looks, all that kind of stuff. But I'd make sure I was smiling. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm the one that's doing the confirmation, if I'm the one that's having these follow-up calls and all that kind of stuff, I would want to make sure I'm not stumbling across this whenever I say it.
Yeah.
And so that means, if you know what you're going to say, then all you have to think about is how to apply it. If you don't know what you're going to say, you have to figure out what you're going to say, and you have to decide how you're actually going to apply it.
Gotcha.
Right? So that was my phone, actually, the timer going, Matt, you're talking too much, right? Is that what?
No. It was my phone saying, Matt, you're talking too much.
Turns out both phones go
Yeah.
whenever I'm talking too much. But that's what I do is I'd absolutely practice it in the mirror.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's a great idea. Anything that involves going back and listening to the podcast again.
Oh, yeah,
I'm a fan of that. But guys, we do these podcasts. I set these timers
Right.
for one reason and one reason alone. Why is that, Matt?
That's to shut Matt up so we can be part of their win.